What is up, you beautiful people? Welcome back to the show where it's not wrestling with your conscience. It's not wrestling with your budget. It is wrestling with emotion, and it is brought to you by Batavia Downs. I don't need you to Visa. I don't need you to American Express. I need you to discover why Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel is the area's premier entertainment destination. You can also wager and win at your local OTB. So let's get them in here. Speaking of winning, our panel has been doing that. We've got our 2 top picks percentages, guys. This is almost like an elite wrestling with emotion. We cut the fat. We trimmed the extra. We got the head of the table, Parthy, and we've got Slick L Bay. Gents, Fire Raw yesterday, and we're going into a hot AEW show in Boston. Like we always say, is there any better time to be a wrestling fan than it has been these last 2 years?
No, definitely not. And you made an appropriate comment with this elite lineup of panel here. We got an exciting few days ahead. WWE's on fire. AEW has a big show tomorrow night. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I guess we only have the elite here, but let's make sure we have a distinction here. I'm Roman Reigns and you're Seth Rollins, Slick. Especially after you're showing at AEW Revolution.
What does that mean?
I'm Kenny Omega, baby. What are you talking about?
All right, you two are crazy. We're losing our minds.
You're out with the injury all the time?
Listen, I would ask you guys.
And you never show up to work?
I was sick for like a month at most.
Okay, tribal chief.
All right, tribal queeps. All right, relax. We're gonna get into it. Cody getting teary-eyed, getting into it last night. Says we're in the bottom of the ninth. Do you believe him? Do you believe we're on the tail end of perhaps what, when we look back at it, will be one of the greatest wrestling stories ever told?
You go ahead, Bartham.
If this goes into extra inning, people are going to be pissed. As one wrestling YouTuber likes to say, people are going to be pissed because we've had this. It feels like we're in extra inning as it is. Feels like this is a baseball game that should have ended last year, and then Vince McMahon made the call and said, "No, it's got to go to extras. Damn it!" And I mean, Cody, some people were arguing. I was not one of those arguing. I was simply facilitating that some people were arguing that Cody needed more adversity, and that was poo-pooed a little bit on our personal chat in the last year or so as far as that is concerned. But I think it's only made Cody a bigger babyface in the end because you recall Sami Zayn last year. Some people were arguing that he should have won the championship in Montreal in the pay-per-view before. Elimination Chamber, was it? Or was it a different one? I forget. But
no, you got it right. You're all right so far.
Sami Zayn was
the head of the table part. You have a little confidence.
Daniel Bryan going into that one, and people were saying, he should win the title and he should face Cody Rhodes. And there was a little bit of a trepidation on WWE's part, making sure that people didn't end up booing Cody Rhodes and cheering for Sami Zayn, absolutely. So that you remember they put them in the ring together, and Cody gave him the "attaboy, go get him" speech to sort of say, "Hey, Cody likes Sami too." But now here we are a year later. Sami's still a top star, and he's in a top spot as it is, and we're going to get to that as whether that was the right call or not. But now Cody is basically this uber over babyface. He's basically the heir to John Cena. And if you're not going to pull the trigger on crowning him as the face of the company right now and ending the reign of Roman, then when is it going to be? It's got to be the bottom end of the ninth, and we're not going to extras.
Oh, Triple H, I think, might as well be the MLB's #1 closer coming in here. It's like, I don't think he's running this one to extras.
Yeah, you would hope not, because Vince last year was like Vegas making a call when they get a sharp live play on the money line in the World Series. You're taking that shit to extras. But Triple H, I don't think he's doing that. This is more like a test cricket match at this point. This shit has gone on forever. Bottom 9, day 2, whatever you want to call it. I think Cody is in that spot, and we will see him finish the story. I I liked the promo last night, I guess. I'm kind of sick of just like him doing his individual thing week to week on a. You got to drag it out with this tag team match. Get a bit more on-screen time of all four of those guys in the ring. Let me see like a contract signing or something. Get everyone a little more interested in the stipulation aspect of Cody's story, potentially finishing the next night. Personally, I'm going to ask you guys how you feel, but which way do you want to see it stipulation-wise with winning?
First off, I'm with you on the two sides. I thought that through the crowd entrance last week fell completely flat. I had no reason to get behind it. I don't think the Shield angle said anything to me. I thought it was washed up. But yeah, ultimately they're gonna have to kind of organize this a little bit. They're gonna have to get the chaos together. Parthy, what were you gonna jump in with? I'm sorry.
How do we see it playing out from?
That's what I'm gonna say. I want to. Oh, sorry. What was your ending?
How would we rather see it play out? In terms of Cody finishing the story, what stipulations would you rather have?
No, so this is what I'm thinking. I think you absolutely, if you want maximum chaos on night 2, you have to have bloodline rules.
Yes,
you have to have bloodline rules.
Thank
that's
you.
absolutely like the Mount Everest, the super mega aggro crag
yes.
of what it's going to do. So I totally believe there will be some situation. I believe that Rock will probably pull some super heel move, hitting someone with a chair, something. To ultimately secure the win, so that when Roman doesn't win on night 2, whether it's by hook, by rock, crook, etc., Rock will have the angle I carried your ass at WrestleMania, you baby ass bitch tribal chief, something like that. And ultimately they'll work a SummerSlam program, but obviously I'll cue it up to you guys. But I think if you want max chaos on night 2, you need tribal rules.
Yeah, I think that's why I proposed the question, because I'm glad we're all on the same page. At least I hope, Partham, we'll get to you. But I mean, we don't know what bloodline rules are. It's so up in the air, especially when tribal combat was basically just a no DQ. We never got a set definition of what tribal combat actually was, other than cousins versus their cousin and brother. But in the end, we need bloodline rules here. I want absolute chaos, like you said, Maniac. Make it the greatest possible way for Cody to finish his story against all odds. Year 2, winning the Rumble back-to-back. He got screwed the first year. Even in bloodline rules, he finds a way to finish his story. Partham, what do you think?
In order to maximize drama, you have to maximize the chaos. You have to throw all the shenanigans and the underhandedness and the skullduggery and whatever else you can throw in this match. Because you have to put it in people's heads the possibility, even though we all know that would be anarchy and, if Cody loses, we riot and all those signs that people have there. If you want to maximize the drama for this, even though people can see that the ending to this is a foregone conclusion, then you have to throw in every possible random variable that you can at this. And the only way to do that is bloodline rules. If it's where bloodline is banned from the arena, then it's basically, Cody's going to beat Roman straight up like he would have beaten Roman straight up last year. So yeah, just to plant that little seed of doubt and to make it, the ultimate, Avengers Endgame overbooking mess that it's going to be, you got to get everybody involved that can possibly be involved, whether it's bloodline or Cody's allies.
Yeah, Seth might get killed on night 1. He honestly might get murked. Someone pointed out, speaking of Avengers storyline, that Seth is going to end up kind of playing the Tony Stark in all of this. That the bloodline's going to get taken down, a.k.a. Thanos, but he himself is going to fall to Drew Slack.
I just had 2 absolute chaos ideas if you want to throw these into the mix. If you think Seth's going to get killed, what's that a perfect opportunity for to happen? A Damian Priest cash-in, new champion, going into night 2, World Heavyweight title becomes a 3-way title match. And bloodline rules, if we're talking Rock is about to screw somebody by hitting him over the head with a chair, what better way, one of Cody's allies to show up? Who better than the Stone Cold Rattlesnake coming to save Cody versus his old rival and get that pop if Stone Cold really isn't having an appearance other than potentially that at WrestleMania. We've heard the rumors that he might have another match in him, but what better way to get a pop with Stone Cold Steve Austin other than a stunner on Vince McMahon than interrupting The Rock from doing some bullshit?
What would you put the live odds at that Stone Cold's music hits mid one of these matches? I'd say about 3-1. 3-1.
I was gonna say
1.
I was gonna say plus 350.
Okay, so we're in the same ballpark. Partham's in the stratosphere. Yeah, there's so much they can do with it. It's why it's such a good storyline. It's why it's so surprising when they have kind of an off night, like it felt like they had last Friday. But there was a lot of momentum, a lot of expectation. I think they'll bounce back. Speaking of Mania, let's talk. What were we more excited about? Tag titles or intercontinental title picture? I think I know this answer with both of you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm a 5-star match kind of guy. Call it what you will. I like the actual wrestling. I love the storytelling as well. And there has been storytelling going into this Intercontinental title match. But at the end of the day, these two are just great fucking wrestlers. You don't get me wrong. I love when ladders are inside a wrestling ring and there's multiple teams and chaos happening and people trying to go grab titles from a rope dangling from the ceiling. I mean, that concept to me is just awesome. I grew up watching Jeff Hardy. I'll never not love those kind of matches. But Gunther and Sammy has potential to steal WrestleMania with the talent that those two possess between the two of them. And it's a toss-up as well. Obviously, we've talked about Gunther going into a bigger title picture, such as maybe the World Heavyweight title. Does Sammy come through and get his title moment at WrestleMania 40 that he deserves, that he couldn't get in Montreal against who is probably going to drop his title in the main event of WrestleMania? Who knows? I'm really excited for that Intercontinental title match. I'm
excited to see the Intercontinental title match, but I'm more excited to see what they do with the 6-team tag team ladder match. For one thing, I'm a little hesitant about it because it's going to involve 12 men in one ladder match. It has the potential to be kind of an overbooked spot fest, but then again, that's what ladder matches are in the first place. I'm more excited to see how they end it because there's a potential here with this ladder match and, multiple belts up there for grabs. Is this how they're going to separate the Raw and SmackDown tag titles from here on out and not have them unified anymore? Is that a good idea to even do with the do we have enough tag teams on both brands in order to have legitimate contenders for separate tag titles again? And who's going to end up being the top teams that get those titles? Do we see Miz and R-Truth become Raw tag team champions? Who would be the SmackDown tag team champions? Don't get me wrong. I'm going to look forward to Sami Zayn and Gunther, but keep in mind that Gunther was originally penciled in to defend his title against name redacted, and we probably wouldn't have expected Gunther to lose his title to that aforementioned person had that match taken place. So really, Gunther is what was really meant to carry on his record-breaking Intercontinental title reign through WrestleMania. Now, they could pull an audible and say, well, Sami Zayn's worked hard. He's got a bit of a story going. The fans like Sami enough. Who else better to drop the Intercontinental title to, if not now, then when? But I'm a little more excited to see how they're going to work out the unified tag team titles.
Okay, so you're probably excited for the match itself between Sami and Gunther, but like you said, it's the journey and it's probably the craziness coming with the tag title picture.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure you get there. Speaking of overbooked spot fest, let's get them in here. It's like AEW all in 2021 here coming. Bam! The Prophet, Rob Ryan. Rob, quick thoughts. You got 20 seconds. Bloodline, what do you want to see night 1 and night 2 versus Cody?
Well, I expect Roman and Rock to win night 1. I expect maybe a little of inconvenience. Maybe Rock does something to Roman on accident, just setting up something maybe happening night 2. And then I think on night 2, obviously Cody's going to win. It's going to be Bloodline rules. And I think Rock has a factor into that, and they start the build to 41.
I'm at the head of the TKO table, bitch. Speaking of being at the head of the table, Batavia Downs, like Jurassic Park, spared no expense. Let's get him in here. The voice of reason, Ernie Green.
Ernie. That check must have been lost in the mail from Batavia Downs. I don't know.
Don't worry, it's on its way. It's a 2-day. It's a 2-day.
Yeah, at Holiday.
It's
all
in
that
the mail.
With that said, Ernie, you love this, and I know your dream is an overbooked spot fest where Cody ends up losing, so we can run it back all again next year at WrestleMania. But how do you see this ultimately going down with the 2-nighter?
See, I see. So my prediction is that Cody and Seth win by some sort of botched interference by The Rock and Roman, and then they kick Rock out of the bloodline, which in turn allows him to interfere in Sunday's match because he's no longer part of the bloodline, and henceforth he's not a person who is not allowed at ringside. So it'll be like a stipulation where they where he kind of skirts the stipulation, and The Rock helps Cody win, and that leads into The Rock facing Roman for the head of the table at either the SummerSlam or WrestleMania 41.
Please let it be the SummerSlam. Oh,
The SummerSlam.
oh,
The SummerSlam card, like we said already, is kind of hyping up to a level where it could be beyond the Mania card. As great as that, no more reason to look at that than Logan Paul having it in his hometown. So, he'll be showing out for that. And what is this? It's time for Trainwreck Trivia, brought to you by Batavia Downs, of course. So with that said, Gunther, it will be facing, at this moment, Sami Zayn at WrestleMania for his IC title. There's rumors that could change as well, apparently. But it's been such a long reign. Who did Gunther beat for the IC title?
Ricochet?
It was Ricochet.
Yeah, they actually said that on Raw last night.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Nice
why
little
did it do that? That was embarrassing. Hold
well
on.
then.
Damn you graphics, but there you go. Batavia Downs. I think, and it was after the Sami Zayn Intercontinental Chump Tour, courtesy of Johnny Knoxville. That's how long ago that was. That feels like forever ago.
Wow.
That was
Speaking
a long time ago.
of forever ago, one last wrap on Mania. So I'm glad you guys are joining us here at the right time on the Wrestling with Emotion show. We'll have 2 women's championship matches building up. It seemed like Becky and Rhea threw it into overdrive last night on Raw. Bayley versus Io is obviously a story that wrote itself and is already developing in a major way. It's already like, the table is set with the highest of stakes. So with that said, let's go around the horn here. Ernie, Rob, Mike, Slick, which one are you more excited for ultimately at WrestleMania XL?
I think Bayley's the best women's wrestler in the world right now. So I think that's not me, is it?
No, it's me. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot.
Okay. So in my opinion, Bayley is the most complete women's wrestler in the world right now. And I just think this whole nobody likes me angle, I think the drama of that match on Sunday just will far supersede whatever happens with Rhea and Becky. Rhea and Becky's a dream match. Rhea and Becky's going to be a banger. I just think the overall totality of Bayley and Io and everything that entails will make that a better match overall.
Rob?
Yeah, I'm trying to be silenced here. Someone muted me. Come on now. I cannot be silenced. But I think Bayley versus Io is going to be the better matchup. I think they've been building this one for a little bit longer. Becky, Rhea, obviously they've been playing it for a long time, but it's just weird what they're doing with that. We have Nia in the picture. We have Liv Morgan in the picture. I like how Bayley versus Io is just damage control. Obviously, there's the layers to that with Dakota and obviously everything else. But I think that's going to be a great match. And if there was no tag team match, I would think that could be the main event of night one. Obviously, the tag team is there, but I think Bayley versus Io is going to be the better match.
I think Becky and Rhea have the potential to basically steal whatever night of WrestleMania they get put on. Because after Rhea's showing with Charlotte, and I personally think Becky's the much better in-ring wrestler as far as execution goes, I think Becky and Rhea are going to put on a show. I'm pretty intrigued as to how both of them are going to be received because I think Rhea's pretty popular, even though she's officially portraying the heel these days. And as popular as Becky is, I got a feeling that people are going to be cheering Rhea to the point where they might be actually actively booing Becky for this match. And Rhea's going to come out on top, of course. Bayley and Io has the longer running storyline. I think I would be more into it if I knew that Bayley was going to have backup for this match. And we know where a certain formerly named Sasha Banks is going to be heading, and we're going to touch on that in a second. But without her coming into the picture, where's Bayley's backup? Where's her Avengers that are going to come in and help her take down damage control? If we see a little bit of that going into this match in the coming weeks, then maybe I'll be a little bit more intrigued by Bayley versus damage control. Essentially, it's going to be that. But for now, I'm more focused on Becky and Rhea.
Partha, mommy is always on top, by the way. But as much as I love Rhea, and like you said, this match will be a banger, I'm going to go with Io and Bailey. It's just been so long since we've really seen Bailey in kind of her own identity wrestling in singles competition. Obviously, Io's a great wrestler. The faction behind her as well. It has the storyline, the drama. Love the booking there, especially with Bailey winning the Rumble. And I'm excited to see Bailey potentially become champ at WrestleMania. I'm really excited to see Bailey wrestle in this setting as a face in a solo position.
Okay. I am excited for Bailey and Io as well. I'm rich for the ways in the slick set, so I won't elaborate too much further. But Bailey kind of coming on her own. This feels like the most on her own she's been since she had the inflatable tube bend. The what were they called? The huggers? I don't know. But anyways, moving on. We are going to move on to AEW shipping up to Boston. But what is this? A second edition of Train Wreck Trivia. And here we go. 9 years ago today, on March 12th, 2015, who defeated Monty Brown to retain the NWA Heavyweight Championship?
Nick Aldis?
Not Nick Aldis, but you're on the right track thinking, it might be something with some recent relevancy.
Was Monty Brown even wrestling in 2015? Are you sure it's not 2005?
No, that can't be 19 years ago.
Is the NWA title still a thing? That thing's still defended? It's basically being vacated every other year or so.
I believe so.
I don't have a clue. No, even hardcore wrestling fans wouldn't know that. Let's just give us the answer. Move on.
Okay. It was Christian Cage. Is that possible?
Whoa! Wow.
All right. Well, moving on. Anyways, AEW ships up to Boston. May have had a technical go. We may have just had Ernie leave if he was that mad at me being off on the trivia. It's okay, though. We'll get him back. Folks. Don't worry. But AEW ships up to Boston. Slick, we've been waiting for this for months. It is going to be Monet time. You got to talk that first before we talk any of the matches. How do you think they're going to do that? And what are you kind of expecting from this? Are you expecting that the haters will be proven wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to expect because the only women's match we have on this card is Willow Nightingale versus Rio. Although Mercedes Moné and Rio would be a cool match, they'll probably do down the line. She only really has history with Willow in terms of that NJPW strong title. That is who she injured her ankle against and was out of commission for a while. But I just can't see her debuting on a show, big business in Boston where she grew up, basically, and just interrupting Willow, who is not in the title picture whatsoever. They got to have something up their sleeve in terms of other women coming out. I've even thought of a potential Britt Baker return. Maybe even Jamie Hayter comes into the picture. Timeless Tony just won a Tony Award, and she's not even announced for big business. What the hell is going on, Tony Khan? I mean, seriously. So I really think you do have to put Mercedes right into that title picture if you're building this just like you built the First Dance kind of show. What's the first thing CM Punk was saying when he came into the ring? Challenging all the big names, title holders. You got to have Mercedes confront the big dogs right away because she is the CEO, and this is about to be big business.
All right, so I'll put it to you guys, Maniac and Slick being the big Mercedes fans that you are. And I like Mercedes, don't get me wrong. But you guys are much more Mercedes fans than I am. So would you kick this show off with Mercedes? Just hit her music, have her come out, First Dance style?
Fuck yeah, why not?
Maniac, Mute Monster.
I did get Mute Monster. I would either do that or I would do her at 9 o'clock. I would definitely not main event her. I wouldn't put her all the way. And plus, by 9 o'clock, you can kind of lull everyone into a sense like, it could be the main event, and then the music still hits as a surprise. I wouldn't wait too long on it. The crowd's going to be hot for it. The numbers with the ticket sales alone indicate that the crowd is going to be hot for it. So I wouldn't wait too long. I would get that out of the way. And if I'm Tony Khan and I'm trying to build the product, get it out of the way. And then, have her with a couple backstage segments later in the night, interacting with so-and-so, Just because she does the first segment doesn't mean she only has to be on the show once. Put her in the first segment. She could have like a segment later in Tony Khan's office. We don't often see people go into Tony Khan's office on screen too often or something like that. That could be boss status, things like that. And then, have her interacting with somebody maybe like the EVPs. Like, that would be great. Her to put if it would really put her over if she joined and she like kind of win over the EVPs on her first
Imagine
time.
if she joined. Imagine if she joins the EVPs.
If she joined the elite,
The
it would be
elite?
also amazing. So it's hard to talk about it. But hey, someone
Back-to-back weeks.
Oh, my God, he's not supposed to be here. It is the elite himself, your friend, my friend, our friend, Jake Micah. Micah, we're talking BOSSTON. What are you thinking? How do you think they're going to execute Mercedes Moné?
Oh, there's only Willow and Rio on the card, right? So
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys
said.
mentioned that already. Okay, you mentioned that. She has history with Willow, but isn't she just gonna kick off the show like first dance style? Like that's what we did for CM Punk. I think that Monet music just hits as AEW Dynamite hits the air, and then we give her a live mic and just let her talk, let her do what she needs to do. She could show up for the women's match if she wants to, but I think this is just the introduction and the debut, and then they can just kind of leave it. And then what's going to happen next week? Who's she going to mingle with and go on with it from there? But I can't wait. I mean, I've been fantasy booking this in our chat for the better part of the last year and a half. So for it to finally come to fruition tomorrow in Boston at the TD Garden, it's going to be a great day. Great day for sure.
Yeah, I actually thought about going to this because obviously I'm so close, but obviously I decided to go to a later Dynamite. But I think you got to start the show. I mean, it's not really, it's coming. It's not like one of those things where you could surprise someone like when The Rock showed up on Raw. It was like they were advertising a big return, but you didn't really know who it was. You had ideas that it was maybe The Rock. But I think you have to start the show. Everyone knows it's coming. It's not like I said, it's not a surprise. Just let the cat out of its bag.
Get it over with, he says.
Anyone else? Ernie, I want you because you have been a little outspoken on the idea of Mercedes Moné. So obviously she'll get a big pop here. No one's going to deny that. But what do you think this is going to do for AEW in the big picture?
I would like to see if they're going to, this is similar to what happened before WrestleMania, I believe 26, where The Undertaker made his surprise return, and then 5 seconds later, Triple H made his surprise return. And I am hoping that they do that with Mercedes and with Britt Baker tomorrow. I think they need to put them right away into a program, have them wrestle right away at that. I forgot the name of the pay-per-view they're having in St. Louis in April. But
Dynasty.
Give Sasha as big of a name to wrestle with. And I believe that Britt, even though she's been off TV, I think she's still the biggest name they have in the women's division. Have her start. The one criticism I've had with AEW is that they've eased these new people in like way too slow, in my opinion, like Jay White, even CM Punk. And also, have her just start on full speed ahead. Have her start with a big feud right away and get her going at Dynasty with the biggest name they can find. That's kind of what I hope that they would do. And I also hope that they do, have her come out right away. There's absolutely no point. Anybody that's there tomorrow extra does not just an AEW fan is there to see Mercedes. Get it out of the way and let's just start this on a fast track right away.
The intern's got to be better with those transitions. But, I think there's no reason to wait on Mercedes. We're all in the same picture there. And we were all kind of on the same picture in the chat that it's a little odd that our friends over at BetUS, by the way, gambling, always something you do at Batavia Downs, always a good time. Gamble responsibly. That you can wager on Darby Allin as a favorite. Isn't he going to climb Everest for the couple weeks after? Wouldn't this be an obvious spot to have some kind of attack and knock him out for a bit?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, Jay White also been, I guess now with the Bang Bang Scissor Gang, they've been getting some wins stacked up, but Jay White notoriously or infamously, I guess, in terms of the fans' eyes, taking some pins in singles competition recently. So with Darby going away, and that definitely makes me think that that's a spot that you could make some free money.
Okay. Anyone else have any thoughts on this card? Any locks?
Oh, Samoa Joe is the biggest lock here. It's a great spot for Wardlow. Great spot to get this group over. Maybe a beat down from the Undisputed Kingdom after and a swerve save or something like that to come in. But that feels like a Joe win, and then let's get this Kingdom group get some more heat on them.
That is good big picture booking with a potential swerve save as well. And then you look at Christian Cage. I mean, even though everything would say, Edge should probably be minus 500, minus 750 in this situation, the Patriarch is hanging on at a slim plus 185. I mean, there might be some value there.
That's not happening tonight. That's not happening tomorrow night.
That's down the line. I'm sorry. That's a couple weeks out. That's a couple weeks out. That's kind of crazy.
Isn't it also great booking that the main event of Big Business is most likely going to be like two huge dudes? I mean, it's just very appropriate.
Me slapping meat at Big Business, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just we need that
big man business.
We still need that Meat Madness match down the road.
All right, two things I want to point out. Just to hit an interview with Eddie Kingston on Wrestling News CO. It's an exclusive interview. And a little quote that he had was, fans can expect at least one surprise. Now, what could Eddie be referring to? I know Mercedes is technically supposed to be a surprise, but come on. I mean, they're telegraphing this left and right. They're basically saying she's going to be there without saying it's first dance all over again. But is Eddie Kingston referring to something else that we are not going to see coming that hasn't been telegraphed, like a Britt Baker, like a Jamie Hayter coming in and basically being Mercedes' first challenger right off the bat?
This is also a great spot you could bring MJF back if you really wanted to shake the world up right before WrestleMania and clear the air up that MJF is indeed still signed to AEW right before the biggest wrestling show of the year. I mean, that would just be a pity move that I could totally see Tony Khan doing, and this is the perfect spot to do it.
Yeah,
but I would love to see a double return with the women. Like I said, Jamie Hayter, Ernie mentioned Britt Baker. Sorry, Rob, go ahead.
Would he come back not being fully cleared yet? Because he's clearly not fully cleared yet. They sounded like that was a months in.
It was going to be like at least half a year or something.
Yeah, I don't think they would have him come back not healthy because it wouldn't make sense. It's not like he was continuously on TV while hurt, like say a Seth Rollins. It's you can't build anything while he's still hurt.
I mean, he was going into that match against Joe already banged up, and he wasn't not cleared to wrestle. Like he wrestled.
He can come back and cut a promo just on everything that's been happening in the situation. He doesn't need to wrestle. He doesn't need to do anything.
Maybe he gets his own faction together.
You're completely right, though. If they did an angle where they're like, we are live in Boston for the AEW or whatever, and they did some angle where when someone they're surprised that someone's right, they're like, oh my gosh, and they're like, and then just the music was about to hit or something, and it was MJF instead of Mercedes at that point, would be incredible. The reaction would be incredible, and you could still do Mercedes and Britt at 9 p.m., which, by the way, is the perfect idea. And
that was similar to how they did Adam Cole the one night that he came back when no one expected it. MJF was scheduled for an interview, and Tony Schiavone just went in the ring. Looked like he was going to do a one-on-one interview with MJF. Even said, I am not pleased to be announcing that this person is about to come to the ring, and then it was Adam Cole instead of MJF, and that pop was huge. So there's a lot of ways you could go with this. Tony Khan always getting creative. I have faith. I think this will be a great show.
Speaking of music going to be hit and Mercedes music hitting, could we? I mean, TK's got deep pockets. We saw him throw down for Seek and Destroy for Sting's last match. Could we see a new Snoop Dogg track for his cuz on her debut night?
I mean,
I don't know.
Anything's possible, but he's pretty affiliated with WWE though. He's in their Hall of Fame. He's at every WrestleMania. But I don't know. Anything's possible, but I wouldn't put anything.
My hold up is she commissioned her own music already, unless she wants a refresh on her entrance music. But that music only got used 4 or 5 times, really. Yeah.
And that music is dope too.
Yeah.
And by the way,
I can't see AEW getting a WWE Hall of Famer.
By the way, Snoop Dogg has pinned someone in an AEW ring. We can't forget that.
That's true.
Sure. Anything's possible.
His frog splash sucked, though.
And in fairness, Maniac, they did get a WWE Hall of Famer when Bret Hart came out at the first ever pay-per-view to debut the belt, if you recall.
Well, I would just think that they probably don't want that, but you're right. Snoop Dogg, I mean, who's going to stop Snoop Dogg, right?
Yeah,
Snoop Dogg does whatever he wants.
I was gonna say he kind of goes to the beat of his own drum. So.
He did Martha Stewart. If he wants to do AEW, he'll do AEW.
Of course, he does. Martha Stewart is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of you are amazing for tuning into Wrestling with Emotion. We break down the latest in the wrestling scene. Of course, shout out to our panel, the voice of reason, Ernie Green. Oh, real quick, Micah, Bloodline, WrestleMania. What do you want to see happen in the final 2 nights?
Ooh. Night 1, that tag match, it's got to be Bloodline rules going into Sunday. It's got to be Avengers Endgame Sunday, Cody versus Roman, everybody running out. We get Jay and Jimmy fighting each other. We get Sami Zayn running out doing something. We get Rollins looking conflicted. Oh, is he going to do something to Cody? Is he not going to do something to Cody? Like we get all the melodrama in that match. It protects Roman, which no matter what in this match, Roman Reigns will be protected as much as possible, even if he's pinned down 1, 2, 3. I think Bloodline Rules does that. We probably get the Rock turn there and go on our way to the SummerSlam probably with Rock Roman. But yeah, they got to do somehow Rock and Roman go over, but show some dissension in that first night and go over Cody and Seth, and we get the chaos on Sunday night.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page. Bloodline rules, some kind of chaos, and obviously Cody finishing the story. Thank you for finishing the story with us here on Wrestling with Emotion. Excited for tomorrow, obviously, with big business and big business picking up for WrestleMania. By the way, speaking of big business, get to Batavia Downs and take care of business at the area's premier entertainment destination. Thank you for calling us on the show. That's not wrestling with your budget. It is not wrestling with your conscience. It is wrestling with emotion.
Yeah. And we're going to